We've had a few tweets. Delana Harvick actually retweeting Ty Dillon, who, by the way, is in the truck. She said, well, we are. And Keelan will be cheering on Uncle Ty as far as who's going to watch the trucks on speed tonight.
You know who else is watching Ty? Is Pop Pop.
Pop Pop. Well, his father, who's spotting.
He's a Pop.
Yeah, that's Pop.
And then Pop Pop's Richard Childress, and he's here too, it sounds like.
There's a lot of eyes watching the Truck Series tonight. Let's go back down to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, real quick, I just wanted to update you. Most of the guys on my end saying they're very tight in the center of the corner. And typically with this tire combination at this track over the last couple of years, this race has progressively gotten looser, looser, and much looser. So we'll keep our eye on that tonight. But many of the crew chiefs reminding their drivers right now that we've got to get all that Hoosier rubber worn off of the track that they put down from the ARCA series and get the Goodyear rubber back in before we have a good feel for it. So they felt like it'd take 6, 8, maybe even 10 laps before they were totally sure the track was Goodyear.
Ray, I think you're exactly right on the racetrack getting looser and looser. Typically, as the racetrack cools off, it will gain grip. They work so hard on planting the front end of these trucks that's what gets the grip sooner.
And Ron's truck just wasn't planted the front end there. You could see just wandered up the track a little bit. I think maybe he expected Miguel just to give up the spot. You could see it wobble a little bit there as Ron exited turn 4. Didn't just needed a bit to have him cleared, but wound up taking them both into the wall.
Hermie, it looks like Johnny Sauter running in the 15th spot right now. How's that team doing?
Well, it doesn't sound impressive until you remember, Rick, that he started in the tail end of this field due to missing the driver's meeting. So far, like a lot of other drivers, he is tight, but the further he gets up in the running order, look for that truck to get better and better.
Oh, yeah, and he's on a mission. Guarantee you don't want to let your team down. Miss the driver's meeting, start in the back. He wants to prove to them tonight that that was a mistake he won't ever make again.
Well, right now, he qualified 15th, and he's running 15th, so he's about even.
20 spots in 5 laps? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Green flag back in the air, side by side. Gone on the inside, Lofton on the outside. A drag race into turn 1.
We know how much Brendan likes that high side, and he's not going to be able to grab it. Lofton's taking it away from him, so it would be interesting to see if he can make a move down low.
3 wide behind him, and Timothy Peters in the 17 making the move on the outside.
Timothy Peters is another guy that wants to get to the front in a hurry. They changed engines in practice that relegated him back to the back of the pack.
Brendan looks like he likes the bottom side okay, too. He's able to run side by side with Lofton, but Lofton's going to lead this lap.
The entire lap, they're side by side and separated by about a foot when they cross the stripe.
Keep an eye on that 22 of Joey Coulter.
He was able to push Brendan Gaughan past Justin Lofton, and Gaughan's got the lead.
Gaughan out in front at Chicagoland. Brendan Gaughan very good on the mile-and-a-half tracks. We heard that of his 8 career wins, 6 of them have come at mile-and-a-half tracks. 4 of those came at one track, and that was Texas.
Those 2 trucks, Phil, got together getting into turn 3. It looked like maybe Jason White was on the inside of Hornaday and didn't quite have him cleared, and Ron hit him.
Take a look at what happened.
Made it 3 wide. Jason went down on the bottom, 3 wide here. Let's see if when they get down the corner. It did. Ron Hornaday made a slight bit of contact with the rear of that truck, and that slid him way up the hill. Jason White, that is, in the 23 truck.
They've been arguing over that spot ever since that happened. You can see Jason's lost a lot of ground. I think him and Hornaday had a disagreement there.
And Johnny Sauter stuck in the middle of a 3-wide battle with Jason White on the outside.
How about Parker Kligerman all the way down in the apron? He was one of the trucks that came down pit road during that caution flag.
That's why the fans love these trucks, man. Look at this battle. This is so early in the race, but they know they got to go. These races are short. Can't be giving up any space. Oh, he takes him into the wall.
Johnny Sauter took him in the wall. Johnny didn't have him cleared. That's another one of the Turner trucks. Miguel Paluto's teammate, Nelson Piquet Jr.
Nelson Piquet Jr., a lot of damage to the right side of that truck, and he's slow on the high side of this track.
He's going to make it off turn 4 onto pit road, I believe.
Hard left turn, he makes it there, and you see the damage to the right side after smacking the wall.
It looks a lot like that 32 truck, doesn't it? You see Johnny exit the corner there. Johnny just kind of like Hornaday. He just moved up the hill and just didn't give PK enough room here.
And look how far alongside PK was of Johnny Sauter. I'm not sure Johnny even knew he was there, whether his spotter towed him outside or not. But check out this move he makes. This is smart. I got to get to pit road, lets all the traffic go by, and then jams on the brakes and makes it to pit road. See what kind of damage he's got. Looks like quite a lot.
Hermie.
A lot of damage to the right side of Nelson Piquet Jr.'s truck. You guys saw it. into the wall. They put right side tires on, working a little bit of tape on the right front fender, but this truck is damaged. He will not be competitive for the rest of the night.
And a little bit of debris came off of that truck when he hit the transition coming off of turn 4 and onto pit road. Wonder if NASCAR's taking a look at that, because once the trucks decide to make their way onto pit road, that debris is going to be right there.
See Ty Dillon move to the inside of Ty Bodine. That's a battle for the 6th spot.
Phil, you talked about the high speeds. We just saw 182 miles an hour, the speed when they entered the turn there.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, very fast. They're only 18-degree bank here. This is not a 24-degree bank track like a Charlotte or a Texas.
And we talked about adjustments, and these teams will have to make those. You saw that sun shining brightly down on the racetrack. As that goes down, these trucks will definitely handle differently. So it'll be important for the crew chiefs to understand what kind of adjustments they're going to make as they race into the night.
Ty Dillon running in the 6th spot. Out in front, Brendan Gaughan still has about a 0.3 of a second lead as we see side-by-side racing once again.
What about our man Miguel Paludo? He's got his truck patched up and competitive. That's awesome to see. Didn't throw his race away early in the going.
How about the 81 of David Starr making the move by the 13 of Johnny Sauter?
Yeah, good run for David Starr and career start number 300.
Put him into the inside of that 13.
Johnny's kind of faded here. Ran out of steam as he got up toward the top 10 and
may have some damage. You know, that may have moved the rear end around on that truck when he made contact with PK.
73 of Rick Crawford also trying to move up to the inside and take that spot away.
Look at Paludo around the outside of Kligerman. Likes that high side. He was up there when he got punted into the wall earlier, but this time he makes a clean pass on the top.
And here comes Dakota Armstrong in the back of this pack. But Dakota Armstrong, what a great performance he put on in Iowa a week ago. Just didn't get the finish as what he had showed in practice, qualifying, and that beginning part of that race.
And we talked about out at Iowa how important it was for that young man to get that finish. He deserved it. He had a fast truck. Would have been cool to see him pull off a top 10 finish with the kind of truck he had, but unfortunately got tangled up with another truck and had a pretty big crash.
Gap closed once again between race leader Brendan Gaughan and Joey Coulter running second.
2 RCR trucks right up there running 1-2. The 3rd RCR truck, Ty Dillon back there in 6th.
And he's got his hands full with Matt Crafton. He's looking up under the 3 truck. Ray, what's the 2 saying? Leading this race, that's got to feel good for Brendan.
Absolutely, and that South Point Chevrolet is really good on entry, but when he gets to the center, he said he has to lift just the tiniest little bit. He was wide open in qualifying. He said right now lifting a bit in the center, so I assume that means he's a little bit tight.
You know, when you're tight, the higher you go, it seems to help your truck turn. Higher turns better, higher turns better. And we know there's a lot of room out there to race on the high side, so it'll be interesting to see how Brendan adjusts his line to accommodate that truck.
Right now, the 22 of Joey Coulter has been following right in the tire tracks of Brendan Gaughan. The top 2 separated by 0.2 of a second. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern, live on Speed.
Dave Despain knows a little bit about everything. A whole lot about everything.
A whole lot about everything.
Of motorsport. I love watching trading. I love watching him trade paint.
I think Nicky Hayden's going to be his guest, so that should be interesting.
He's from Owensboro, Kentucky.
You know, Dave likes two-wheel guys.
He does. He's a two-wheel guy himself.
He is.
Nice pass that time by Matt Crafton, getting by Ty Dillon to take over that 6th spot.
He'd been all over him, Phil. They've been racing hard for that spot. Crafton obviously faster, but it took him a while to work his way around Dillon. It'd be interesting to see him now if he can drive up there and get a hold of the top. But on this cat right here, Ross Chastain in the watermelon truck, he gets just better and better every week. He's a guy that you really like seeing what he's doing. He's improving, fast, running in the 12th spot right here, racing hard with Jason White. I like Chastain. I like what he does behind the wheel.
Just needs a finish that is indicative of the way he's running. Exactly.
And he deserves it, too. Yes. He's had some engine failures, some problems with the truck, but week in and week out, he's able to run strong. Mixing it up with a veteran like Jason White, that's got to feel good for that kid.
Sure does. I was talking to Ross early in the garage here, and I said, how's your truck? He said, well, it's driving good. I just don't seem to have the speed that I need. I said, well, wait, if that thing's driving good, wait till the race, and then it'll come back to you.
And right now, he's battling door to door with the 23 of Jason White. White's going to take the spot on the inside.
Didn't put up too hard of a battle. He just slipped in behind Jason White to see how maybe Jason was beating him and can continue to battle toward the front. You could see how much faster Jason is, but it took him a long time to figure out how to get around Ross.
I think it was smart by Ross not to race him too hard. We're only 30 laps into a 120 lap race. Let's make sure we get to the finish. Then we'll worry about racing somebody hard.
We've seen some great examples of not caring about when the finish is. Let's just get it done right now, and the result has been damage.
The gap between Brendan Gaughan and Joey Coulter, almost 0.8 of a second, but I think the real story has been the guys making the move from the back to the front. Ray, how have they done?
Well, Timothy Peters has done fantastic, I would say, Rick. By lap 15, he had worked his way up into the top 15, and now he is all the way up to 9th in that red number 17 Toyota. Now, he said he's not bad in 3 and 4, but just a little bit snug in 1 and 2. One thing I did want to point out, yesterday in our first practice, they cut a tire, a right rear tire, while being out on the racetrack, and they decided to get a new tire, but they didn't want to put a cold one on with those 3 other warm ones. So Butch Hilton put that truck up on jack stands and waited about 20 minutes till they got those tires all cool again to see what they were doing. And Timothy said that was an excellent call because he was able to make a really critical adjustment on the camber of that truck on the right front. They've got it dialed in, and he is on his way to the front. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Johnny Sauter started at the back and made his way up to 15th in pretty quick order, but now he has faded back to 18th, and you have to wonder if he had any little bit of contact on the racetrack because the truck is not driving as good, and he is talking about being on the splitter entering the corner. So those guys have got some work to do to get Johnny back up towards the front of the pack. And also Parker Kligerman, who also started at the rear of the field for a track bar repair after qualifying. He's up to 17th, but neither one of those drivers making the kind of progress that Timothy Peters is so far.
Yeah, and Hermie, you're correct. He definitely had contact on the racetrack. Got together with Nelson Piquet and put Piquet into the outside wall, and you can see some damage on the right rear quarter panel of that 13 truck. And Phil, we're running so fast. You mentioned 180 miles an hour down in the corner. They built this thing, they designed this thing to have all the aerodynamic downforce possible. He's got a rub there. That right rear tire has been into the wall. We saw the Goodyear scuff dog of it. That could have changed the way this truck's driving. He hadn't been fast since then.
Without a doubt, these guys rely on every single piece of metal being within a certain 60 thousandths tolerance. Obviously, when you make contact like that, it moves that stuff around.
So Johnny Sauter has made his way up to as high as 15th, but back to 18th now with Parker Kligerman just in front of him. It's Brendan Gaughan who has almost a second lead over Joey Coulter. Justin Lofton runs third. Leffler is fourth, and Matt Crafton running in the top 5. Since the drop of the green flag, it's been side by side and bumper to bumper action.
Lap after lap, that's your truck.
Yeah.